Alright, so there's a few more problem solving questions that we can do with bracing. Okay, some of them involve when there's a window or a door there that we can't brace through. Okay, we wouldn't want to put a brace like here because then we wouldn't be able to see through the window. So a few little problem solving questions. So what's the length of the longest brace that can be fitted from A to the base of the frame, okay, down to the base, avoiding the window? So that longest possible brace would be the one that would just pass through the corner of that window and go down to the base of the frame. So what we're really asking is, well, first, what's the length of this brace going to be? But before we can do that, are we allowed to brace in that direction? Okay. Looks like it's okay, we can do it. Remember, the rule we have needs to be between 37 and 53 degrees. So what I really need to test initially is to make sure that this angle, okay, which I'm going to call theta, is between the 37 and 53 degrees. Okay, so we need to check if theta is between 37 and 53. Okay, so I'm going to try and check that. To be able to check that angle, I need two sides of a triangle. So I've got the opposite side. Do I have the adjacent side? No. Can I figure it out? No, because I don't know how far across the window I am. Can I find the hypotenuse? No, because I've only got one side. Okay, so to find theta, we're going to have to use some little trig rules. Okay, this one is remember from year 8, this F. Okay, so corresponding angles are equal. Which means that this angle of that the brace makes with the horizontal will be the same as this angle up here. Okay, so I'm going to check to find theta using that angle up there. I can find this distance. Okay, this distance will be the same as over here. Okay, these two added together is 1300 mil. Okay, so I know that I've got 1300 mil there, and I know horizontally I have 1100 mil as above. So again, I'll draw my diagram separate to my enormous label diagram because I don't want to get lost in the detail. 1300 and 1100. Okay, so I'm going to use tan to find theta. Write what the rule is. Okay, and then substitute in the values I know. I don't know theta. I know that the opposite side is 1300 and the adjacent side is 1100. Okay, so to get this angle by itself, inverse tan, what angle gives me a ratio of 1300 on 1100? 49.76 degrees. Okay, so I'll make some statement down here now. Okay, so I think the angle is between 37 and 53 degrees. It is okay to brace in the way shown in the diagram. Alright, so now my problem would be, okay, how long is that actual brace? Okay, so I know the angle's okay. I could now draw this bigger triangle, okay, that huge triangle, to find the length of the brace. Okay, so find the length of the brace. using this really big triangle, which is 2400 millimeters tall, and I've got this angle of 49.76 degrees. I'm trying to find that unknown. This is opposite, this is hypotenuse. It's basically the same as the first question of the last lesson. I'll zoom in a bit so I can actually write it in any detail. And I'm going to be using sine. I'll write the rule. A sine of 49.76 degrees is 2400 over x. Multiply both sides by x. And then divide both sides by sine 49.76. And then it's just calculator time to find the length of the brace. A should end up with 31.06 millimeters. And I'd write some statement. And the length of the brace is 3144.06 millimeters. Okay, so that's the good scenario. That's a scenario where it does work. So just be aware that in some of these problems that you'll do, some of these textbook problems, hope this isn't making you dizzy, the break angle won't actually work. So you'll get to this stage, and if this angle is, say, 30 degrees, okay, then you'd say, well, the angle's too shallow. So just looking at this diagram, the angle's too shallow, need to make it steeper. So you'd redraw this and put a 37 degree brace in there, okay, instead of having the 30 degrees which would be out there. Okay, so you'd have to then redraw your diagram with the 37 degrees, okay, and then find like how long's the brace, how long it goes across, and things like that. Okay, the example we saw was the good scenario. All right, so onward to these questions. Have a go. Good luck.